So hello, welcome to Access Paranormal. My name's Jamie Williams. As you know, Jonathan hasn't appeared yet, but we do have a very special guest on with us tonight, and I think I know who it is. It's Paul Alland from Unusual Things. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Jamie, and thank you for having me on.
No, you're welcome. Sorry about that, Paul. Couldn't resist it. It just came into my head then.
You even did the finger motion as well, didn't you?
Yeah, you go. I wonder who it is. Yeah. So no, thanks so much for taking the time out and coming on the show here, because I know I watch your videos all the time. You're always out somewhere, out and about. And the worst thing is you're going early in the morning. Thankfully, I can watch them in the evening.
Yeah, go early in the morning is because usually the only people you tend to see are dog walkers and the odd one or two person out for a run or walk or something. So I miss all the sort of busy commuters and people that are going about their daily business to and from work. So it enables me to film in peace then, and that's what I like. Plus, I can try and beat the traffic sometimes as well.
Oh God, yeah, I don't blame you there at all. So, what made you go into the actual walk in the graveyards and finding these fascinating people?
I think it all started when I was a kid. I grew up next to a cemetery in Portsmouth, and I used to go in there to feed the crows. I just find that the cemetery really peaceful, and I used to like walking around there. And I used to sit there feeding the crows, and I used to read some of the headstones. And I always thought, oh, I wonder what happened in that person's life, because you see the start date, the end date, and that little line in the middle is their life, isn't it? And and as a kid, it fascinated me, and I used to think, what happened in there? But then obviously life went by and I just carried on doing different jobs and bits and pieces. And then one day I thought, because obviously I got an interest in the paranormal as well, but one day I was watching some American people do this on YouTube. There was Scott on Tape, there was Lamont at Large, and oh God, I forgot the other one, which I really like as well now.
There's an older fella, isn't there, who goes about?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Forgotten Faces, I think it is. There's one that
there's about forgotten.
There's about 4 or 5 that I watch on there as well. So, and I looked and I thought, I wonder if anyone's doing that in the UK at the moment. And I saw one channel doing it called English Grave, who's now come on to be a good friend of mine, actually. Mm-hmm. But I didn't watch his videos. And the reason why I didn't watch his videos is because I had it in mind that I wanted to go and do this, but I wanted to put my format. And so I had a little plan in my head of what I thought I would do. And the first one I went to do was Alec Guinness, of course, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he's literally a 25-minute drive up the road from me. Wow. And I thought, what an amazing grave to visit for your first one. So I did a little bit of research, and then I messed up one of the dates. It was all a bit sort of cap-handed sort of thing. It was all like not falling into place properly, but I edited it and put the video out, and it just got a good bit of feedback, so I just started to build on it from there, really.
This is Jonathan. He might
Hi, Jonathan.
Disappearing because of the camera. As I say, that might interest you when he disappears, but
yeah.
Sorry, Paul, it's just that he's just come in at the same time.
No, that's okay. That's
Jonathan,
fine.
Paul, Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, not so bad. And you?
Good man. Yeah, very well, thank you. I was just telling Jamie about the how I got into my channel, really. And I filmed Sir Alec Guinness's grave, and then from there I just started to look into more and more, and I thought, right, if I'm going to commit to this, I need to do this. So I started trying to put a little bit more of a format in place, and it's taken its time. It took me about 10 videos to really find my feet, find my patter, and just find how I wanted to present it. I'm an ex-radio presenter myself, so I've never really done TV work or anything in front of a camera, apart from messing about when I've been drunk and stuff. But my main history, if you like, in terms of presenting has always been on radio. So I just thought, right, well, let's go with it. And I just built on it from there, really. And I was very lucky that a lot of people started watching it in the early stages. And then I finally did get around to watching English Graves videos. And I was pleased to see that I had a completely different format to him, because he's a filmmaker and he makes it so almost like a production, massive production, which is great. So it was really different.
I keep disappearing now, Paul.
I know. That is paranormal.
It's one of these cameras. It's when 2 years go on the camera, it tends to attack you. So sorry about that. It's because Jonathan's here. He's a ghost.
Yeah.
We were interviewing someone else, and he just disappeared. He kept disappearing like I am now. So we'll have to get that sorted in the end anyway.
That's all
But,
right.
where was the first? I mean, what I did like was one I really did enjoy was the Peter Cushing one, and you actually showed his house as well.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, Linda, who started off as a viewer and she's become a good friend of mine now. She knew all about Whitstable and where Peter lived and all the bits and pieces of places of where he went and what he did. So she very kindly helped me out and said, right, you need to be going here, 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 here. So I then sort of, again, constructed a show around that, got the information. And it was great because it was so nice to visit a place where you get to see their house, where they used to, eat or take their wife. Peter used to take his wife, and the cafeteria. The staff would talk to me, and they were amazing. But what I found about that little beautiful place was that everyone wanted to stay stum about where he was buried. They all knew,
Wow.
and no one would talk about it. So I did some digging, so to speak, and I found out some information. And in my video, I even say in the video that I'm not 100% sure, but this is where he could be, sort of thing, So yeah, I had to keep it that way out of respect for the people that were giving me the information, and obviously, and I think it was part of Peter's wishes as well. He didn't want a lot of fans from his genre, and the horror genre is massive, as we all know, and someone like him who's such a well-established actor. And also Star Wars, Grand Moff Tarkin, he's a great character in that. So he's obviously going to have a lot of fans. But I've just seen they're doing the house up recently as well.
Oh right, yeah, because you've got it on your intro. You have it on that.
Yes.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite videos. That one. I'm disappearing. I bet you that looks funny to you. That.
That's all right. Don't worry, it's fine. Honestly,
it's all right for the radio.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go. Yeah, you're actually you're into the paranormal. You've got two of us here. I'm going to see if I can take the background off while I'm talking to you. How do you do it? Because the background's it's distracting for me. How do you do it?
Is it like a green screen?
Yeah, it's like just the background. Sorry, Paul. I know we're doing the podcast. This is what happens when you're doing it live.
Yeah, no, that's all right, mate.
I've got to choose a video filter. Let's see what happens here. Oh, there we go. None. It's not letting me do it while we're on live. Ah, well, just have to see it come and go.
That's all right. I'm happy as long as you are. But if you want, if you want a few minutes to sort it, Jamie, honestly, I don't mind. I'm okay.
We'd have to start again. That's the only thing. I wouldn't like to do that to you. How would you do that? So let's try Blair. Oh God, that's even worse, isn't it?
I'll take it off.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out how you take it off, Paul.
Yeah, I know. I'm not very computer savvy, so I can't help you, I'm afraid.
Oh, there you go. I've done it. You'll just have to enjoy our background. No, that's better. Look, we're alive.
Everyone's
paranormal.
Everyone's got a room which they just work from, haven't they? It's a workstation.
This is my computer room, yeah. Oh yeah, put your headphones on. He can't hear you.
Oh, can't he?
I thought it was a bit low.
What's he like, eh? But this is what happens when you get an uncut podcast. It's good fun. It makes it more enjoyable, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
So how many locations have you actually been to now, Paul? Is there stuff out there that you've not put out yet, or stuff that you don't want to put out?
I think I've got about 2 videos at the moment which I haven't put out because I just haven't edited them. But I tried to have a few up my sleeve. So God forbid if my car breaks down or I can't get out, if I'm unwell, because I like to try and put out 2 videos a week if I can. Which obviously, as time goes on, is going to get harder because there's going to be less and less graves for me to visit. But when I first started the channel, the intention was, with the title Unusual Things, it wasn't specifically going to be graves. It was going to be, that was going to be part of it, but I was going to be doing other things as well. And I may still branch off in different directions at some point. But one of the things I was going to do was contact people that had like unusual jobs and ask if I could go out with them for the day. You know, just
right,
weird
That's
things.
a good one, yeah.
Yeah, weird things like that. You know, and that was how my brain was thinking. I was thinking, right, we'll do some celebrity graves, some crime scenes, some film set areas, some unusual jobs. You know, and that was the whole sort of premise of it. But the grave sort of just took off so quick, and I've sort of funneled myself into this channel now. You know, it's what it's become. So I'm running with it, and as we all know, all good things will come to an end at some point, and I don't plan on ending it because I love doing it. So, but I've got to be mindful. There will be a certain point where there's not going to be any graves to visit because I'd have visited most of them. You know, however, I do like to, as we discussed earlier, you know, I like to do things like the Titanic and other areas. So it's not always necessarily famous people, but it's people that have got a story. And that's why I like to do the Crime Files one as well. And I like to focus on the victims or the people that have gone through that traumatic experience as opposed to, I don't know, the murderer or, you know, the person that's, because they get enough media coverage. And when I do my stories, I like to tell it about the person whose grave I'm going to see. So I try and avoid the nasty side of it, and try and remember the good things about the person who I'm visiting. But yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of graves I haven't been to yet, so that won't be for a long time.
I think you'll be always guaranteed graves.
Yeah.
It comes to
some along the way.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So,
but what grave would you like to go to? There's always one which is the master grave you'd love to.
Yeah, for me, it's Brandon Lee, who is the son of Bruce Lee.
Oh, Bruce
and
Lee, yeah.
They're buried together, and the reason is, I was a big fan of his when he started his film, especially The Crow. It's one of my favorite films. Absolutely love that film. And because he got shot on set and sort of killed just before they were about to finish, I know he finished most of the scenes, but I think that man would have had an amazing career.
Yeah.
I think, you know, he done a film with Dolph Lundgren called Showdown in Little Tokyo. He done another one called Rapid Fire with Powers Booth, who's now dead. But he's on the West Coast, like real North California. I think it's Seattle and that area of America. So he's the ultimate one for me. And then second, he's followed by one of my favorite horror directors, which is George A. Romero. Who directed the original Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, and he's buried in Canada. So I've actually started a GoFundMe page because my viewers say, when you go into America, and I'm like, I'm on NHS wages, I can't really afford just to go to America. So I asked them first. I said, would you like me to start a GoFundMe page so that we can try and get me out to America? And most of them said yes. But I'm aware times are hard in life for people now. So I don't push it too much. I've set it up. I think it's raised about £900 so far, which is fantastic. I'm really pleased. Yeah. And, you know, it's still, and I've told them, obviously I can't go this year now because there's not enough funds there for me to cover. I want to literally try and cover 2 weeks worth, but I need to get car hire, hotels, everything and anything, flights, you know. So, and I've been open and transparent with people whenever they tell me. I'm always, you know, if they want to see the account to make sure it's not been spent or anything like that, I can always show it to them, you know. So I'm very transparent about things like that because, you know, when people are trusting and putting their money into you per se, I know that they'll get the rewards out of it because they'll get to see the videos and all the American. I mean, crikey, America, you could spend 6 months in them.
Slow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I know, it's manic. So that's my sort of like long-term goal, if you like. And so that's why I've kept the GoFundMe, and I've just said to everyone that it'll probably be next year now because obviously, and plus I have to take 2 weeks annual leave from work to go and do it as well. You know? So, but I got the odd one or two comment, I'm not paying for you to have a jolly in America. And I'm like, well, I won't be having a jolly, I'll be working.
Yeah, you're entertaining. That's what you pay entertainers. So what they're doing is paying you to entertain them.
Yeah, exactly.
In a respectful way, that is.
And that's why. But most people have been brilliant, you know. And like I've always said, you know, I mean, I've got about nearly 70,000 subscribers on YouTube now.
Wow!
Even if they put like 10 pence each, you know, that would easily cover it. So that's what I always say to people. Don't get me wrong, there's some people that have been so generous, you know, like £50, you know, it's crazy. I'm always grateful, and I always send them a thank you message afterwards, because it's really important that they're having faith in me to go and film those American ones. So yeah, that's ultimately, sorry I digressed a little bit there, but
that's all right.
This is what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what
we love it when people digress, because that's your passion.
And that's
a question, and that's your passion. You give us the answer, a good one.
So they're the two biggest graves that I want to do, is Brandon Lee, which is a bonus because he's buried with his dad anyway, who is another legend, and of course George A. Romero. So they're the two that I've got on my hit list, so to speak. But yeah, I'll get there one day.
Have you ever thought of doing one where, I don't know whether you're allowed to, but you probably are, is I noticed when you finish, you always tap the grave and you say thank you and everything else.
Yeah.
Do you ever take photographs of just a grave? And you ever thought about putting it into like a book, in a book format, and saying unusual graves or something like that?
Yeah, I do. I take a picture of myself with the grave, and I'd probably say only the last year I've started taking a picture of the grave by itself, because someone said to me, don't just get ones of you with it, get ones with it by itself, because then that's your photo, you know. So for that reason alone. But to be honest, I wouldn't even know where to start if I was putting a book together. I know some people do, and they make a success out of it on Amazon and things like that. But I suppose, I guess I wouldn't know what format to address it in, you know, unless I just write about my journey to visit that grave and a little bit about the person, and then put the photo in. I'm sure it'd be of interest to people, you know, because what I do love with the viewers is I get a lot of people that either have a disability or can't travel for whatever reason, and then they send me a lovely thank you message for going to visit their favorite celebrity's grave, or remembering a person, the victim of crime, or something like that. And that's lovely, you know, when you open that message and you say, oh, thank you, Paul, because I can't drive, or I'm poorly and I can't get out, and you've really helped me see where my favorite person's buried. And you're like, oh wow, you know, just one of those is enough for me.
It's well worth it, isn't it? We do the same. We do paranormal investigations on the radio. We record them for the radio, because there's people out there who can't do that. And sometimes we record them in 3D audio as well. So when you put the headphones on, it's like they're in the room with you.
Wow.
And it's good. It's one of the, it's a weird. I'll send you the link, and you can have a listen to one. And it's
please do.
It's one of the weirdest things. And we try and do things like that to give them that experience. You know, some people are housebound. So if we can't bring them with us, we try and bring us to them. In that way.
It's great. And I think people like ourselves that have got a platform to do that for people, I think it's really important that we remember that there are people out there that have a disability or an illness, or, you know, they can't do it. So I think when we've got that sort of platform, we've got that responsibility as well to help everyone get involved and make them feel part of it. And that's something that's obviously passionate with yourselves, as it is with me, make mine. And it's great. And it's and then, like I said, you probably get it as well. Just one message that says thank you, and you're like, done a job, you know, and that's all that matters then.
As long as even one person makes that big difference to you, doesn't it?
Massively. Yeah. I mean, I've been fortunate enough that I've had some relatives of some of the famous people that I've been send me messages as well.
Wow.
And you're like, you know, really, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, but well, not necessarily a famous grave, but was, you know, Sarah Payne, the little girl that got killed. Her brother sent me the most loveliest message ever. I won't go into too much detail, but he basically said he doesn't watch anything about his sister, and fair enough, you know. But he said he watched my video and he was pleased with the way I delivered it, and he thanked me because I put a little flower down at the end on her grave. And he said he felt that out of all the things he had seen in the past, that mine was the most respectful towards his sister's memory, rather than about the person that did it, which important. So that just not only made me emotional, but it was like, you know, then you can think, right, okay, I'm doing the right thing now, you know. You know, you're on the right path.
I feel you always are, because I mean, you know, you're introduced it fantastic. You're always respectful. Whenever you go to the gates, you always say thank you to them. You know, and that's you don't see many people doing that. You always see people. I mean, I've watched other ones, and you've gone to the grave, blah blah blah, blah, and you've gone. You
Yeah.
always take that time to say thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that makes the difference between you and the other ones. Do you understand what I mean there?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's just an acknowledgement of that person. I think, because as I'm there, I mean, some people say to me, "Oh, why don't you take flowers?" Blah blah. It's very difficult because of the times that I go, because I'm going so early in the morning. There's never any flower shops open. I don't really want to buy garage flowers, which aren't always the best, are they? So, I think flowers are great, but for me personally, I'd rather tap the grave, thank them in person. To me, that means more than just putting a flower down and just walking away. But I know everyone's different, and I completely understand the ones that say to me, "Oh, could you put flowers down?" But it's more of a logistical thing. It's the timings and bits and pieces.
It costs you a fortune in flowers,
I
wouldn't
know the traveling's bad enough. Flowers
I
aren't
know.
cheap.
I know it's funny because sometimes I watch your videos and they're like, 1 minute you're up north, the next minute you're down south. I'm thinking,
Hello, yeah.
because we do the podcast, we always think, did he do that one before he done that one? And he's just put them on. Do you get what I mean? You're juggling about. Yeah.
I try and do way I work it is I look for a particular person. I think, oh, I wonder, or someone will suggest someone to me, and I'll go and search them up. There's a website called Find a Grave. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
And you can go on there and you can see anyone and everyone that's. I don't know who these wonderful people are that put all the information on there, but they obviously go around and find these graves initially. If I had to do that, I would never get around. I wouldn't. It's just like needle in a haystack, isn't it? So whoever these people are, they're fantastic, and they make my job so much easier. So I'll have an idea, or someone suggests someone, I'll go and look. And then usually you can see if there's other famous people within that cemetery or of notoriety within that cemetery. And then I'll go, oh, well, I might as well do theirs while I'm here. So I'll do that research and find out about that person as well. So it helps me with traveling expenses. So hopefully I can usually get about 3 or 4 done, or I will look to adjoining cemeteries. And if there's, especially London, there's always like 2 or 3 cemeteries quite close. My problem is I hate driving around London because it's just a pain in the backside, and it's, I don't know how people that live or drive or work in London do it every day. But when I go up there, I have to go really early because it drives me up the blooming wall. And usually on a Saturday morning, you can see me sat outside a cemetery somewhere in London waiting for it to open. I'm like spying on the man with the keys, like, hurry up. And luckily enough, they do get, because they usually say, "Oh, open at 8 o'clock in the summer" or whatever. But luckily, they do get there at 6:30 sometimes. And I'm sitting there thinking, "Oh, thank the Lord." But the other day, there was a hole in the fence, so I just went, because it was so early. I went in there, filmed what I had to film, and then someone told me about 2 weeks later that someone had been murdered in that cemetery early in the morning. I was like, what?
Oh, no way.
That sort of makes you think, oh, hello. Right. Okay. But I always have my wits about me when I'm in. I mean, on Tony Hancock's video, I think it wasn't. There's a homeless man it was freezing cold. It was proper winter, like, last year. It was ice. This guy looked absolutely frozen stiff. And I thought, I didn't want to disturb him, but I'm walking around with a torch in the pitch black. But
you mentioned it. Yeah.
And it looks lighter on the camera than what it was in real life. And I'm thinking, geez, and I'm seeing the body there, and I'm like, oh God, I hope he's all right. And I thought, I didn't know whether to disturb him or not. So I did my filming, and then I went and give him a little tap, and I went, "Yeah, mate, would you like me to get you a coffee?" And he just looked at me like, "Who the blooming hell's this?" And I went and bought him a coffee and a sandwich and something, because he just looked ice cold, stuck to the bench. So you do have to be mindful that there are going to be people out and about.
Because you've been stopped. I've seen you with cyclists. You had a group of cyclists who saw you.
Yeah, that was at Roy Hudd's.
Right, was that, wasn't there? And then there was the lady who was looking after the grave of a child. And you were walking in, and she nabbed you then, and she was telling you all about the grave. That was quite sad, that one, because she was there looking after it. I think it was a child, wasn't it? Her child.
Yeah, it was her son. And he had all sorts of illnesses. I can't remember what exactly, but I was doing a live at the time because I was going to find the diver, Buster Crabbe's grave, the guy that there's still uncertainty whether the Russians done him or the British government done him or whatever. because it's a really interesting stories. But I was just trying to tell it doing a live. People love the lives, but they're really hard to do because I have to try and have my notes there while I'm walking around and reading. And I'm not, a lot of my audio, when I'm telling the story of the person, I used to do it on the scene, but now I do it as a voiceover when I get home because I'm not very good at moving, reading, and concentrating, trying to film, and it gets a bit too much. So I now do the bit where I tell their story. When I come home, I just voice over that over the top. But yeah, so I was doing that, and then she goes, "Oh, come over here, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh," but yeah, bless her. It sounded like he went through an awful lot, and that's so sad, really. It's
she was very dedicated to that grave because the way she was coming across to you, she was really getting them out there, and rightly so as well. It was quite sad that.
Yeah, and I wanted her because it was an opportunity for her to tell his story. I just let her have it. I didn't want to cut her off or anything like that. I wanted her to speak. She's obviously very emotional and upset as her son. So, again, I'm in a privileged position where I can give her a little bit of a platform. So why not? And lots of people afterwards, again, leaving nice messages for her.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
brilliant.
it's lovely.
Now, when you go in these graveyards, I think the funniest thing you do, and it tickles me because I think you're not going to get in. You always try the church doors.
Yeah. It's usually because it's so early in the morning. I don't think the vicar's up yet, but I get fortunate. I tell you where I get fortunate usually are little churchyards that are in little towns, like little villages, because they obviously don't have a crime issue, and they're quite prepared to leave them open, which is great. It's fantastic for me because I get in there. But yeah, it's become a little bit of a comical side to the channel now. It's like, is he or isn't he going to get in the church, which I find funny. And I'm the first one to take the mickey out of myself all the time, and I quite enjoy doing that because it makes people realize that I'm relatable to them, and I always think in life, if you can't take the mickey out of yourself, then you've got no right to take the mickey out of anyone else, so I always sort of like beat myself up and give myself a hard time because I think people enjoy it really.
It is funny because one minute you go to some churches, we've done it ourselves. I mean, you go to a church, you think doors open, and then bang, no, it's locked. The next one's locked. You think, oh, come on, But you've been in a few times, and I've seen you. There's people been in it, but they've always let you walk around with the camera. They've always been kind enough to let you go in as well.
Yeah, I always ask permission if I see anyone in there because I'm aware. I know you get a lot of people go, oh, you don't need to ask permission, but it's respectful to that person because I don't know why they're in there. They might be arranging a funeral or a wedding or something like that. So I have to be mindful of what they're up to and give them their space. So I always just run it past. Is that okay if I just film? And then I'll try and steer away from them unless they're happy, because some of them are very kind and they give me information and history about the church. And then I'll ask them, do you want to be on camera? And it's either a yes or no. So I'll either edit them out or just, keep them in there, whatever.
There's one in Yorkshire, in Maplethorpe, just a little bit down the road. There's one there, and it's got a leaning tower at the front.
Oh, okay.
And me and my partner Marie, we went up there for a holiday, and we went, this is an unusual church. Let's pull over. So it was just a one-off thing where we pulled over, and then all the gravestones were right round the side. There was no gravestones in the grounds itself. It was just a church. And all the gravestones around the sides.
Okay.
I mean, we got a bit fascinated by it, and we couldn't understand what it was about. So we've done a little bit of a video, like you do. Oh, this is the monkey church, and I haven't put it up at all yet. This fella comes along, and I said to him, I said, "Oh, do you work here?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm just going in the church now. Do you want to come in?" So we let us in the church.
Wow.
Yeah, he let us film in the church, and then he told us the story why the graves were all along the side and on the concrete. Because years ago, it was flooded. The whole of the area was completely flooded.
Okay.
And the graves all started to come up out the ground, and they were floating. So obviously, when the ground settled, they had to rebury all the bodies, but they didn't know whose stones was which bodies. So what they've done is that the grounds itself, all the grass itself, that's the graveyard.
Yeah.
And all the stones are along the sides.
Wow.
And that was the story. That one is because of the flooding. They couldn't put the gravestones back because they didn't know who they belonged to.
Crikey.
Yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll send you the information for that because it might be one you might be interested in having a look at.
Yeah, it's definitely say it's in Yorkshire, is it?
Yeah, it's in near Maplethorpe. It's on the coast.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It was just in the middle, we were just driving along. And, oh, look at this here.
What the hell's that? Yeah.
Now that'll take me on to the. Do you ever do that where you were driving along the graveyard? I'll have a
Yeah. Yeah, I did a couple of weeks ago, actually. When I don't know if you saw it, I did a live where I did a little bit of a ghost hunting thing where I found an abandoned church.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it. And then I did a live on a Saturday morning. As I was driving home, I saw 2 further churchyards, and I got into both of them. So they're on my channel as like 2 lives, little ones. But yeah, I literally drove past, saw them. I thought, oh, pop in there. And luckily, lo and behold, the door was open. Then I went to the next one as I drove along. I saw that, and that one was open. So I did 2 extra lives from it. So, and again, the people loved it. So like, oh, you got into 2 today. Well, it's 3 in total. But
wow,
yeah. If I ever see a churchyard on the travels or a graveyard, I think, oh, I'll have a quick, because there might be something just a bit different in there, you just never know whether there's a vault, a mausoleum, a catacomb, or I know we don't tend to have them so much in this country, but you never know unless you have a look, do you? What you might find.
Exactly. That's it's like what can we call you? Not an urban explorer,
Graveyard explorer.
Grave explorer.
Graveyard explorer.
Yeah,
suppose.
Graveyard explorer. Yeah.
I used to do Airbex and Gravex.
Yeah, Gravex. I used to do a little bit of Urbex actually. Yeah, I'll tell you a little story quickly. When I sort of first started out in YouTube, first of all, I had my paranormal channel called Paranormal Analysis, and I was working with 2 friends of mine, but sadly they couldn't always get the time off and this, that, and the other, so it was a bit difficult. But we did a few, but I've taken them all off now because I'm trying to take the channel in a different direction. So I took the videos off, and then because I saw how much competition there is on YouTube with paranormal channels, I was like, and then I thought, I tried a bit of Urbex, and I loved it. I was going to Dover, all around the country, finding these places. And again, urban explorers are quite secretive. You have to sort of be in with certain people before they let you know things. But again, it's another one where YouTube is absolutely flooded with it. And now, obviously, I thought, right, and then that's the story comes from where I was watching the American people, and I've always had an interest in sort of famous people and people's lives, their stories, as I said earlier. So then I thought, right, well, I'll start my channel. But it makes me laugh because now there's lots of little grave channels popping up all over the place. But I'm a great believer. There's room for everyone on YouTube. Everyone should have a chance of trying to do what they want to do. I'm not a selfish person. I don't call them like my viewers per se, because they're not mine. They're just viewers. But because your viewer might watch my channel, or my viewer might watch your channel. So it's no one's viewer per se, is it?
What it's about.
It's everyone's got, same as me. I watch hundreds of different channels, different videos.
Same.
So I wouldn't like it if one channel said, "Oh, you're my viewer," because I think, no, I'm not. I like everything. So I try to be respectful along that. I do call them my viewers when I'm talking like this, just for easy terminology. But yeah, so I think it's great that the actual viewers get the chance to get involved as well, and especially with the churches and cemeteries, like I said earlier on, making a difference to someone to be able to go and watch their favorite person, see where they're buried and things like that. I mean, one of the weirdest ones I did recently was Roger Moore's stepdaughter, where it's actually got like a memorial plaque to him on there as well. It's got his name on there, even though he's buried in Monte Carlo, but his stepdaughter is buried in the same graveyard as John Mills, the actor. But it was just nice when you read the headstone, and it's got her name, and I obviously gave all her details throughout the show was about her. But then to have Roger Moore's name on there as well, what an icon, what a legend. And it was so real. That enabled me then to put his picture on the thumbnail, James Bond sort of thing. So that was great as well. So
what's that one that I've seen this on another YouTube channel.
Bye.
But it will be a brilliant one for you, Paul.
Who is it?
It's a grave. I can't remember the man's name. It's not famous. He was famous in like the 1700s, 1800s.
Okay.
He remembers
and
him.
It was the biggest.
Went to school with him.
It was the biggest coin fraudulent coins, fake money.
Okay.
Back then. and it was the biggest in the UK, and it nearly put the UK economy like bankrupt.
Wow. Oh, I'll look into that because that's got to have a brilliant story behind
It's
it.
got a brilliant story to it. It's in Lancashire.
Okay.
I can send you the details if you want.
Please, yeah, if you can do, yeah,
That
that'd be
would be a
great.
really good one. But there's a story to the grave.
Yeah,
There's coins always left on the grave.
is there? I'm
Even
gonna
to
have a
this
sweep
day.
up.
Yeah,
This your
Yeah.
America trip.
yeah. Even
Yeah,
to this,
yes.
even to this day. But there's another one there as well of a famous poet.
Okay, yeah, no, please do. Like I say,
Yeah.
I'm always open to people sending recommendations through to me.
Yeah. And there's a
Because-
church that you can walk in as well.
as long as it's not too early.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime
cool.
with this one.
Even
Yeah.
better. Oh, thank you. No, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
There's also we're going off the track here, but it's good fun. There's one in Liverpool which you'd love to go to as well. It was the first person to be killed by a train.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he was
Right.
killed in the Rainier trials when they done
Oh,
the first steam trains. You know, when they had the rockets.
Yeah, yeah.
And but he wasn't killed by that one. He was killed by I can't remember the name of the train. But he was the first man on the planet to be killed.
Wow.
He's buried he's got a mausoleum in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Crikey. Yeah, that'd definitely be interested as well.
Yeah. So there's one to go to there.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Like I say, I'm up your neck of the woods in October.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I've got a few plans because my plan is I'm driving up on the Friday. Because what I like to do is when I go up to Liverpool, Manchester, whatever, I like to sort of work my way up the country. So there's a few in Derby, the Midlands, whatever, get there. And I'm in the hotel the Friday night and I've got the Comic Con on the Saturday that I'm going to. And then I'm going to the Comic Con party part or whatever it is in the evening, a few beers, you know, and then driving home on the Sunday. So, I mean, what you were saying earlier on, Jamie, I mean, if you're about on that Friday night, I don't know if you guys are.
Yeah, we can do that.
Maybe we could do a little bit of a paranormal investigation. That place you said, was it the
Well,
what did you say?
Mill Street.
Yeah. I mean, if
Is that the Halloween weekend?
no, I think it's the one or two before. Hang on, let me look at my phone.
Right, so we're going to say if you're up here for the Halloween weekend, come and join us.
Oh, that would have been great, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Let me just have a quick look and I'll tell you the date of when it is I'm up. It's Friday, October the 20th.
Right, okay. So anybody out there who's going to the Comic Con in Liverpool, go and meet Paul. Unusual Things. He'll be having that t-shirt he's got on there. I can see it.
Oh yeah, that one, there it is.
That's the one. Yeah, love that
Yeah,
t-shirt.
I'll be there on the Saturday.
Yeah. So, 22nd in Liverpool. Go and meet Paul. I would.
Yeah,
Well, we
come
will.
say
We'll,
hello.
well, how about that Friday night? We meet up, Paul,
Yeah,
and we'll go on a little paranormal investigation, and we'll record it for the podcast.
The Friday.
yeah.
Yeah.
And on the Friday.
There
Is
we
that
go.
all right?
Perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can do one from the paranormal channel as well because
Yeah.
I've obviously got that channel up now. So just to, like I say, we'd have to be there for long. Do we just do a couple of hours?
No.
But,
Yeah.
That's
Because
fine.
I'll probably be absolutely shattered from driving all day. I'll be.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. We're only down the road. We're 8 miles from it, so we're all right.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
So no, we'll actually take you to a paranormal investigation in a graveyard.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then you can have a little sneak view, and we won't tell you where it is because you'll love it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that'd be amazing. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's diverse slightly from your unusual things, and let's go across now to your other channel where you're doing
Yes.
paranormal analysis.
I know. It's such a mouthful.
Yeah, it's not. It's us.
It's analysis.
Do you know, looking at us two here, do you remember the Muppets?
Yeah.
Remember the two owl fellas on the balcony?
On the balcony, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it.
But yeah, just diverse. And sorry about that. I forgot what I was going to say now.
Paranormal analysis.
Yeah, paranormal analysis. What made you go into that? Because I know you've been dedicated to your unusual things, and then suddenly we were watching it, and we went, "Oh, he's got another channel here." And we
Yeah.
found it, and we went, "This looks interesting." Yeah.
What's he up to? Well, paranormal stuff is something that I've been involved for over, like, I think it's about 23 years now in total. I always just say over 20 years because I'm showing my age now, aren't I? So, but yeah, it's something that it's weird because as a kid, I hated ghosts, anything like that. I was petrified of it. And it's because I saw a ghost as a kid. I literally, my parents, before they had it remodernised, had the standard sort of house in Portsmouth, you know, where you get the stairs at the middle, bedroom either side.
Yeah.
So it was like that. And I remember being about 7 or 8 years old, and I wanted to go. We had an outside toilet back then. That definitely shows you how old I am now. I wanted to go downstairs. So I opened my bedroom door, and at the top of the stairs, I'll never forget, it was a woman just doing that to me, just like transparent but old. And I just bricked it. I went and hid under the covers.
Wow.
And I did not move. My mum come and got me out in the morning. I was sweating. I was like, she goes, "What's happening? You know, it was all ghosts last night. It's all ghosts, you know." And for years after that, I was petrified. I was absolutely, I didn't, you know, if I heard a noise, I'd be very scared and run off, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
At 18, I joined the Air Force. I had a slight injury to my ankle, so I left when I was 20. But I started reading because there was supposedly a ghost on the base where I was at. And I used to go around there at night time and thinking, right, I need to confront my fears. I need to see if there is anything. But obviously, I didn't have any equipment with me or nothing. It was just purely me walking around trying to feel, sense, or see, or whatever. And I walked into this old hangar, and I just heard this like knocking like that. But I couldn't see anyone. I had a torch. I couldn't see anyone with me. So I just started trying to go, "Hello, can you do it again?" And I heard nothing at all. I just literally heard it once and then nothing again. As you know, as paranormal investigators, you have to wipe out as many variables as you can. And I can't, because I don't know. Someone could have been outside doing that, you know. I don't know. It could have been anything, something banging in the wind. But it got me intrigued. And after I left the Air Force, I just started reading on it a little bit more. I used to go out with groups when they used to do their public investigations and stuff. And then in 2008, the radio station I was working at, they very kindly allowed me to start a paranormal radio show. So I started to get like a little team together. I had a medium there. I had David Wiles, formerly of Most Haunted. He came in, and he used to do the astrology. It's funny because I think he'd had enough of doing like the mediumship sort of part of it then. And he said, "Let me just do the astrology once a month, read out people's stars." And since then, he's obviously written loads of books about the astrology and things like that. And he was a great guy, really nice. But sadly, you know what radio stations like? That got cut after 3 months, which was bonkers because we had lots of international, I think because David's name was involved, we had lots of international listeners online and things like that. The numbers were through the roof. And I was like, "Oh, okay, so what do I do now?" So then I started up my own paranormal group where members of the public could pay, you know, so to come along. And as probably as you guys know, the venues these days charge an absolute fortune. You don't make any money out of it really, because you know you try and keep your customers' prices down, but then the venues want to hit you really hard. So it was more of a sort of, it ended up being a voluntary thing. And then I got a bit annoyed because people would let you down. They promised to come, and then you got to fork out your own to cover the costs. So I knocked it on the head, but I carried on investigating, and I used to just go off with different people and different groups and do things on my own as well. And then I thought, well, why not start a YouTube channel? But I started that long before I did this one. Started that, like I said earlier, very competitive market, didn't really get anywhere. So my two mates that were doing it with me were busy, blah, blah, blah. So then I thought, as I've got a bit of a platform now with Unusual Things, people are always asking me, we do paranormal. But I don't want to bring paranormal into this channel. I want it as something as separate, completely separate, because I don't want people that are not into the paranormal that watch my Gray videos go, "Oh, what's he going to bring out? I don't know whether I'm going to watch it this week or not, because am I going to be entertained?" So I thought by having it completely separate, I can then entertain the ones that are interested in the paranormal, and at the same time keep what I call my baby, my Unusual Things, as it is, you know, because it looks after itself. As long as I put the hours in and work for it, then it looks after itself. So that was the plan. So yeah, I've started Paranormal Analysis. A few people have jumped over. They've gone, "Yep, I'm going to come and watch what you do here." I haven't got out to do any investigations as of yet because I've been so busy with work and Unusual Things and this, that, and the other. So I've just put out a few little videos of an experiment just so that people can get an idea of what I want to do. And I've asked the viewers that if they have any clips of paranormal stuff to send it in, and then I can have a look, and then we can have like a bit of a debate on a live. That's the sort of analysis part anyway. So that so it's a two-way street again. You know, it enables the viewer to be more directly involved with me and watching their clips so we can discuss it.
Like an interaction. It's being interactive with them.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, because I think it gets back to what you said earlier on with doing your audio investigations for people that can't get out and putting them in that space. This time they get to see what other viewers send me in as a clip, and they get to make their own opinions and judgments on it as well. So I thought, wow, that's a good way of trying to, and obviously go out and do investigations as well to keep people watching me get scared and run out of buildings like Scooby-Doo, you know.
That's him. Definitely him.
The weirdest experience I've ever had, though, was a place called Wimmering Manor in Portsmouth. And it's a shame, because someone looks after the trust now, and they only rent it out to some paranormal groups. So if you're within the within favour, you get to rent it out, and if you're not, you don't. So it's sadly like that. But so I won't go into that. But and Wimmering Manor, I think it's in the Doomsday Book, the church over the road, the tunnels under the ground. There's loads of things with it. But I was sat in there one night with my ex-wife, and she walked out the room to go to another room. And I was sat there, and in the corner, this was an attic space, and in the corner was like a little hidey hole where the priests used to go and things like that. And this door, this attic space, went and just opened, and I thought, what the hell? And I was in pitch black on my own. And I heard these footsteps run towards me like that, and I felt this presence stop there, and it felt like a little girl to me, and it giggled, and then I smelled like kids' urine, and then it disappeared like that. And I was like, wow. What the hell was that? You know,
wow.
It was the footsteps running towards me that just made every hair go ting. You know, it was so strange. And another one at Fort Widley, I had this is when I took a public group out, and there was about 20 of us holding hands in a circle. And again, these are all like old King Henry VIII sort of forts that he built, maybe before that actually. So we all stand in a circle, and you could actually hear someone physically, like a military person, walking in between us. And every now and again, I'd have a torch on, and I'd turn it on, and I'd shine it around so everyone could see that there was no one walking. But his footsteps were so loud. And a friend of mine came, and he don't believe in ghosts and things like that, spirits. And he was gobbing off. Yeah, what the blooming hell are you? And it stopped right in front of him. And he said he could feel it. And he went to me, Paul, help.
That's calm.
Yeah. I said, no, you're on your own, mate. I said, you start gobbing off. I said, you're on your own.
That's the thing, isn't it? You know, people come in. I love it when skeptics come along and they experience something for themselves. Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time, but when that happens and you think, that's satisfaction for you, and that's the proof that you need. And we've had people coming, haven't we? Do you ever remember the woman who came and she said, I'm only coming because he wanted to come and blah, blah, blah. And we were when you come to Mill Street Barracks, we were in a room we called the classroom upstairs. And
I know what you're going to say,
she was sitting there, and we were calling out Lola, and she started to cry. She just went panicking. She was so scared. And we went, what's wrong? What's wrong? She said, I've just seen someone standing there.
Wow.
And she said, as clear as anything. She said, couldn't you see it? And we said, no one's seen anything. But she's seen it. We ended up having to go downstairs and have a break because she just went white. And I thought that was great, because it showed her, don't mess with them.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't believe in them, don't say, there's not any there and all that stuff. You know, they're gonna say, well, we are here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to being a ghost. I'll tell you what, there's gonna be a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have so much fun.
Yeah,
I'll be like Timothy Claypole from Rent a Ghost, I think.
God, I remember that. Yeah.
That was good. That.
He was cremated at Golders Green, but I really wanted to go and see his grave, and I was like so disappointed when I found out that he was, because he died young, didn't he? He was like about 42. And again, you know, we're probably around the, I don't know, same age. I'm 51. I don't know how old you guys are, but oh yeah. So you're
same as me, Paul. You're the same.
A little bit.
70.
50, I'm the
70.
same as you.
Oh yeah. So you remember Rent a Ghost, obviously. So yeah, when that was one of the first ones I looked into. I was like, I've got to see if that guy's, you know, buried somewhere. But sadly, he was cremated. But it would have been great to visit. But I've got a little plan. I don't want to give it away because it's going to be my Halloween special. and there's a lot of logistics to it, and I've got to try and really starting to get it filmed soon. But it's one that I can put on my grave and my paranormal channel, but I can come at it at 2 different angles, because there's a grave involved, obviously, but I'm going to be doing a paranormal experiment at the grave of someone that is well known, not well known, but within. How can I?
No, don't say nothing.
No, I don't want to give it away because someone's doing it. But within the area of which is the main focus, they're well known for, and I'm going to their grave. So it'll all come to light. I'm quite happily tell you off there. I don't mind that. But,
watch this
and I want to keep it as a surprise for the viewers as well.
Oh,
so.
definitely. No, we respect that. We wouldn't want you to give all your information like that away. Yeah. It'd be good for us as well, because we'll watch it just to go, oh, wonder who it was.
Yeah.
Don't tell us. Don't tell us. Yeah.
All right, I'll keep it secret.
No, we like things like that because it's nice, isn't it? You know, it's nice for you as well.
Yeah.
The other thing is how many? I've got to. This fascinates me as well. Is how many miles do you actually think you do?
Oh man.
With it, I'll say in a year, because I know you've been doing it for longer.
Yeah, but I've literally I bought a new, well, not a new car, but I got a newer car in February this year. And I think since February this year, I've done about 9,000 miles on it. Wow. And it's just like, you know, that's not including my work miles, because I work in the community as well. But I would say a grave visit miles, 9,000 easy. Which, how many months is that? February till now? 7 months?
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a lot, I know. And it's, you know, it's obviously, it's not just fuel, it's like tires, it's wear and tear on the car, you're constantly service. So that's why I try and have a couple of videos just up my sleeve in case, God forbid, but if anything goes wrong with the car, and then you know, then I can
plan ahead.
Yeah, always. It's always important. Or if not, then I'll just, if you ever see me do a live randomly out of the blue, it's probably because I haven't got a video to put out that week. So I just do a live. But the lives are great because, again, you get to interact with the audience. You know, they ask you questions. Sometimes you get asked the same one 8,000 times, but I don't mind answering it because they might have missed the other 7,999 who I've given me answer. So to them, it's
we very rarely do live, do we?
No,
never really. No.
It's good for
about it.
Yeah, do it, because obviously you two are great hosts. It's good for the interaction with your audience. You know, you sit there and present it, and all their questions come up on the side. You can just fire away and answer it, and it's good for helping your channel build as well.
All right.
Yeah, because people see you doing a live and they think, oh, well, let's go and check them out a little bit because it pops up. But yeah, I love doing the lives. It's just, it is mentally draining though, because you get question, and you're trying to get through as many, you know, you really, I personally like to try and answer every question if I can. I can't always, because it's a long-winded answer, but again, it's that making that person feel special because they've taken the time to watch and ask a question. So you guys ought to do a live one night.
Oh, we'll have to.
We will. We'll have to choose it. We'll have to choose a place though, because sometimes we're underground.
Oh yeah. We'll just do it like this and have a question and answers.
We should do.
We very rarely do we? We only
we'll
do this. I mean, this is being recorded because it's on Zoom. Because then we can look back at it as well. You see, and I'll put your name in there, and I'll do this. I'm terrible, aren't I? I can spend when we do the videos for the YouTube channel, which we've got, you know, for the paranormal investigations. Sometimes they're only 45 minutes long, but it'll take me 5 or 6 hours to go through it because I'm looking for little things that we might have missed.
Oh, I know. And editing is my bugbear. I hate editing. It's the one part of the job of, like, not job, but one part of YouTube that drives me mad. You know, I love going out. I love driving, going out and filming it, provided there's no traffic. All that part really excites me. But when I get home and I have to sit here for hours and I'm like, oh.
No, it doesn't bother me, does it? I mean, I was on here till about 2 o'clock this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just editing the Pex Hill one now at the moment. And I just love doing it. And so I'm just sitting there. The thing is, I've noticed as you're getting older, you're getting closer and closer to the screen.
That's why I've got these on, because I can see you, but you're a little bit, it's just a bit strainy on my eyes.
We look better, Blade, Paul.
That's a better view.
That's a lot better.
He
Unless you can
agrees
tell
as
me-
well.
I've met him before somewhere.
Asla, probably.
Is that where it's from?
Yeah, but I bought one, right? How many? I bought one about 7 years ago. No, longer than that, about 15 years ago, of a friend of mine who was selling it. He bought it from Asda for Halloween. I think they were going for £70 at the time. Then Asda stopped doing them to buy it, and then I saw. I was a bit skint one year, and I went through my divorce. And I wanted to go on holiday, so I sold mine for about 250. Went on holiday, had a great time, but I really missed it. How sad's that? So. Literally last year, I was looking on eBay and there was someone not too far up the road from me and they were selling it again. I think they paid about £200 for it, but I just like it. It does, you know, you can
Brilliant,
talk, but in my living room, I've also got a suit of armor over there, which I can't move the camera, but I got a 6 foot two. I mean, I'm 5'10", it's about 6'2" suit of armor standing over there. I just love old sort of gothic-y weird stuff. As you know,
That's good.
Because I've noticed you wear these. Is it a coffin ring?
Oh yeah. I wear coffin rings, skulls, things like that. Yeah, I've got them off today. I've literally just had a shower before coming here, so I was like, take them off. But yeah, I mean, obviously I can't wear them for work in my NHS job, but I've always got them on if I'm not doing, you know, if I'm just living, so to speak. But yeah, I had Gothic, the company were they did a sponsor for me in my early days. So they sent me some free rings, paid me a little bit of money, and I just had to do a little bit of spill. Yeah, so that was quite nice.
Brilliant.
So if anybody wants to sponsor Paul, please do so.
Yeah, do you know what I'm always taking the mickey out of? I watch other YouTube channels, and there's one guy on there who I don't watch it for this reason, but he likes Lego basically. And Lego sent, I'll tell you what it is. Have you ever watched the TV show The Inbetweeners?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the guy that plays Jay? Jay, I think Jay.
Yeah.
But he's got a YouTube channel of his wife, and Lego sent
that's
him,
right. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, they sent him like a Millennium Falcon or something, didn't they? In Lego.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I went onto my channel asking Lego to send me a graveyard, but they haven't. I want Lego. Send me a graveyard, Lego.
Yeah, come on, Lego.
Yeah, you can buy a cemetery in Lego. I think it's brilliant.
While it's on my mind, sorry, Paul. While it's on my mind, the photograph you gave me.
Yeah.
Did you take someone with you to take them photographs, or was it like your camera? Because I know that you have a tripod sometimes. Did you do that yourself, or
no? A good friend. He's actually my barber. What little I've got, but my barber, Chris Jupp, great guy, and he's just started studying photography, and he knows about my YouTube channel. He said, "Can I take you to a cemetery and do some photographs of you, some headshots, some standing up, you know, stuff near?" And they come out really well, and I was really pleased with them. So when you asked for a photo, I was quite chuffed to be able to give them out somewhere for someone to use. You know? I don't know how, but he managed to take the lines out of my face and make it look a bit smoother. But yeah, Chris Jupp, great guy. So if anyone wants headshots done, and he's also a barber, he can probably cut your hair before he does your photo.
Well, do you know what? Give him a good shout there, because it made our posters look good. So I'm happy with that one.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Good lad.
So, Paul, before we go, because it's coming up to that time now, how can people get in touch with you, or how can people watch it? I know the YouTube channel. Do you want to give it out at all?
Yeah, of course, if you don't mind. It's obviously
there as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. Yeah. So if you want to watch me go around graveyards and visit celebrities, victims of crime, or well-known places and things like that, unusual things, just type that into YouTube and it'll come up. If you want to watch any of my paranormal stuff, just type in Paranormal Analysis, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it's ANALYSIS. And then you can go and find what I'm going to get up to. That's quite a new channel, so there's only a few videos on there so far, but it will continue to grow. And I'm on Instagram as well. I think it's unusual things _666, but I'm not on there with my paranormal one, otherwise I'll have too many groups and I can't keep up with it all. And on Facebook as well, there's an unusual things group as well on Facebook.
Brilliant.
Super.
So Paul, both of us really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today. We couldn't ask for a nicer person, could we? Really?
Couldn't.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
So do us a favour, just keep going around them graveyards, keep trying the churches, keep doing what you're doing, because we're enjoying it, and there must be thousands of people out there who are enjoying it as much as we are.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
From us, we thank you so much for coming on the show as well.
That's been an absolute pleasure. It's been I love talking to people like you guys, because obviously we're all like-minded. and it just feels nice and relaxed, and we're getting our point across to people, and they get to find out about what's going on. So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really privileged.
You're welcome. And for anybody else listening out there, go and look out for Paul. We've got to go now. We'll be back again next week. We'll see you then. Good night.